Howard is here as a living example of heart-centered technology, and I think he also has an amazing winery. And you haven't had this yet. Who came the furthest in the room here tonight? Who came the furthest? Where'd you come from?
Encino.
Encino? Anyone further than that?
Laguna Beach.
Oh, Laguna Beach.
Colorado.
Oh, Colorado. Well, there we go. Fantastic. And we have 2 bottles here. So, okay, I'm going to crowdfund the next one. What do we think the next, who should this next bottle go to? Anyone got an answer or question? Yeah, you just can't say me.
Her. She's amazing.
Okay, who?
The host tonight.
There you go.
Oh, Giovanna. Oh, good marketing.
Yeah.
All the events coming up. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, let's hear it for the space. It's a beautiful, beautiful space here. Yeah.
I came the shortest distance.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, maybe there's somebody in between. I'll leave this one for Howard to give away, and why don't you come up and accept your own wine? That's really cheesy, right? We'll just leave it here when you can speak, and we'll figure it out. Howard has been a great mentor of mine. He also runs some amazing companies out here. Started with BioHeart, and he's a serial entrepreneur. He's got many, many, many different companies. Has started the California Stock Exchange, and just an amazing all-around guy. Food trucks and scooters, and totally does things that help with the economy, creates jobs, sustainability, just amazing company. So it's all yours, Howard. Take it away.
It's really special to be with a group of heart-centered people. It makes it easier to speak, for one thing, because there's a bunch of soft hearts here and that love people. And there's a famous line from both a book and a movie, Into the Wild. And this line at the very end of the story of the person who lost their life was, he records down that joy is only real when shared. And this message from Charlie and Jude about sharing, it's really about that, about the fact that we together can create more energy through sharing these joys of social good and heart-centered leadership than if we just stand in a room and think about it ourselves. And I myself, I get motivated by seeing others. I'm motivated by seeing these guys in action and the video that we just saw. And by hanging around with people that kind of lift you up higher, it makes us all a little bit better. So this is really something to celebrate together today. We're celebrating Silicon Beach. We're celebrating heart-centered leadership. Jeff Klein is a friend to a number of us in the room here. He was a co-producer of Conscious Capitalism Summit. I'm very lucky to be a California delegate once again, and we'll be going to Austin in October. He suddenly lost his life about a month ago. He was the author of the book, It's Just Good Business. And it's another, we all have our own personal experiences, but this is somebody that was in our community that was lost at age 55 suddenly in the night. And what was most shocking to all of us is that he's the healthiest guy we knew. He's the guy who woke up and jogged at 6 in the morning and drank the veggie shakes and the fruit shakes, and yet even he was lost. It means that any one of us could be lost in any day, and just celebrating life itself. This is called a celebration, so it's a nice thing to celebrate being alive, and even better, sharing these beautiful sentiments of trying to make the world a better place. I'm going to share with you something that kind of lays the foundation of the mixture of having a heart-centered approach to life and business. And Jeff was the person who introduced this to me. I'm not sure if he was the original person who said it, but I learned it from him, and it's in his books. And he explained that every human needs red blood cells to survive and to live. But nobody would argue that the purpose of life, of our human life, is limited to just creating red blood cells. It would almost sound silly if somebody said that. But yet, somehow when it comes to business, the idea of creating cash and profits even though we'll all admit that businesses need cash and profits to survive, how did it come to be that many people believe business is for the sole purpose of creating cash and profits? And Jeff argued through his teaching that he didn't believe business was limited to just the purpose of creating cash and profits. He believed that businesses can have a purpose to do great things for society, to create environments for working that are conducive to allow people to have joy and love in their life and to share the experience. And he, as well as many others and people in this room, are helping to kind of lead a change in that direction of thinking, that the end-all, be-all is not an overriding emphasis on short-term net profits at the expense of everything else. A lot of CEOs go to Wall Street and they get a high-paid job and they're under pressure to create instant results. And it's hard to create instant results, but somehow the expectation is there. So they begin to make cuts. They cut R&D spending. They cut giving back to the community. They cut people. They cut plants. They move plants overseas. They make tax moves to try to reduce their expenses while having the same amount of revenue. We want to argue that that is not necessarily the best route to take, that there's another choice, and that choice we think is a better choice. And that choice is to have heart-centered leadership in an organization, and that we're not just saying this from left-sided point of view, that being nice and being good is the only way to go. We're actually making the logical argument that it's not just good for good's sake to treat people well and have a sense of purpose, but it's actually good business. That when you have a sense of purpose and you have an organization that treats people well, you're first going to start by attracting the best people, and then you're going to retain the best people, and you're going to motivate the best people. And when people have a sense of purpose, love what they're doing, believe in the purpose of the organization, believe that it's not just about creating profits and cash, even though that's nice and it's needed, but it's not the sole purpose of the organization to do that, they're far more likely to be engaged in the work, and that engagement of loving what they do and being energized to go into work and kind of having an environment where it's supportive and loving and nurturing, it's actually going to create better profits long run for the corporation. Because one thing that cannot be denied is that every business has to have customers. And in one way or the other, the spirit of the organization is reflected in that interaction with the customers. And a lot of times people maybe don't even realize that they don't want to go back shopping somewhere, or don't want to go to a restaurant, or don't want to fly an airline. And they might not even know the reason, but oftentimes people who study human psychology will tell you that the spirit of the organization is being reflected in the engagement of the customer, and nobody wants to be around people who are overly stressed and who feel like they hate their job and feel like they hate their boss and hate the people they work with and hate the environment. It is absolutely reflected in the engagement of the customer. And if you lose customers, you lose business. The contrary to that, which is much better, is an organization full of happy people who are engaged in what they're doing, believe in what they're doing, care about what they're doing, and are energized to make the organization better every day, to make their product better every day, to make the customer experience better every day. One of my favorite books is, I wish I could remember the name of all these authors to give them proper credit, but one of my favorite books is the book called Fish. Does anybody know this book called Fish? It's such a simple book, but it brings such a special message. And this is a book about a gentleman, John Christensen, I remember that name, who went to go work for the Pike's Fish Market, or one of the fish markets in Pike's Place in Seattle. And he struggled to find a job, and he eventually got a job at the fish market. And he needed that job, and he was grateful to have that job. And he showed up his first day, the new employee, and he was like, wow, I'm so happy to have this job. And he shows up there, and he finds an environment where people have their heads down, and they're like, what are you talking about? This is a terrible job. We have to cut stinking fish, and it's dirty, and we don't get paid enough, and the boss isn't great, and this is, what are you talking about? This is you're grateful to have this job. John went home his first day and thought, what do I do here, you know? And he decided to take action, to do something, to convert what was in his heart into his work and try to make things better. So he went in with a concerted effort and tried to change the attitude of the organization. And I won't walk you through the whole book and all the steps he took, but the end result, if you've ever been to the Pike's Place fish market, it's a joyful place. They start by throwing the fish up from the back, and they make a bunch of jokes and are laughing, and clearly the people working there are enjoying what they're doing. They have true engagement with the customers. People love to shop there. People love to work there. The business is thriving. It's a great place to work. Now everybody wants to work at that place because you're almost you're in a great environment. And the only thing that changed was one guy coming in with an idea to change the attitude. It still was the same place. It was still the same fish. It was still in the same location. It was still the same customers walking by. But with that attitude change, all of a sudden, a lot more customers came, and a lot of other people liked to work there, and the people that were already working there started to enjoy their work when nothing changed but the attitude. That's a lot of what we're here to talk about today. I took a couple notes, and I want to tell you a few other stories.